What happens when you see others suffer? Do you feel pain for their pain? Do you find yourself upset by seeing oppression in the world? Congratulations, you are a human being. In this video, I'm going to take a look at what compassion means to me. By harnessing the teachings of Stoicism and Taoism, with a sprinkling of other philosophers, I will attempt to find pathways for enhancing my own empathy and possibly help you do the same. Stoicism and Taoism are two ancient philosophies that have been embraced by many people over the centuries. Both philosophies offer a unique perspective on life, focusing on the importance of understanding and accepting our emotions in order to better empathize with others. Both Stoicism and Taoism focus on helping yourself and finding your own inner peace. In order to truly know what kind of suffering we won't accept in others, we need to decide what suffering we will accept for ourselves. I think back to the emotions I felt when I saw the ASPCA commercials. You know, the ones with Sarah McLachlan. Seeing these animals suffering made me feel as though I needed to jump into action. It made me want to harness my inner John Wick and hunt down those who could do that to animals. Furthering this thought, what made me feel this way? Was it the fact that I could never imagine doing this to something so sweet and innocent? Or was I actually putting myself in the cages with these animals and feeling their pain? I like to think that it's a combination of both. In order to find empathy for others and practice compassion, you need to decide what you will accept. So if you felt the suffering of those animals or the atrocities happening halfway around the world, you are at least partially doing this. There is a line you can easily cross where empathy can become debilitating. When you feel the pain of everyone, this can drain you quickly. You take their emotions on as your own and you suffer because of it. It is very important to note that advertisers and cult leaders both know this very well. They know how to play into your emotions and make you fight their battles. It is important not to go full empath. During my research on compassion, the same name kept coming up, Eckhart Tolle. I read The Power of Now many years ago, so I refreshed myself with the audiobook found here on YouTube. I will link it in the description so you can check it out. Tolle's teachings focus on many of the same Taoist principles I am familiar with. My main takeaway from The Power of Now, as well as Tolle's lectures, is the focus on cultivating compassion and doing so by understanding the interconnectedness of all things in this realm. Think of your neighbor with the same respect and love as your finger. This finger is a part of you, and so is your neighbor. When you cut your finger, do you just let it bleed? Likely you find some way of stopping the bleeding and minimizing infection. If you just let it go, it could end up needing amputation. The same could be said for your neighbor. What happens if you used to see him out there every day walking his dog? Then a few days go by, and then a week, and he's no longer walking his dog. You haven't even seen him at all in a few days. What then? That dog may have been his entire world, and now it passed. It could be as simple as knocking on his door and saying hello. You could even create a charade where you needed a cup of sugar or something. You could very well be saving this finger of yourself from being amputated. This may sound extreme. However, the statistics on mental health and suicide, especially amongst men, are shocking to say the least. I've discussed the importance of compassion for others, but what about yourself? I have made videos on mistakes and how they can actually benefit you, but at the moment it may be difficult to forgive yourself. There are many on this earth that give all they have to others and save nothing for themselves. It is very important to note that you are the center of your connections. 30 spokes are joined together in a wheel, but it is the center whole that allows the wheel to function. That's from the Tao Te Ching, chapter 11. To be kind to everyone, you must be kind to yourself. You will face the same struggles, and even though you make your shoulder available to cry on for those around you, you may not get the same reaction. You may need to find your own solutions. So how can this be done? In order to fight your own emotional battles, you need to develop emotional intelligence. Developing emotional intelligence is an important factor in achieving success in life. It can be a challenge to learn how to manage your emotions and relationships with others. Fortunately, Stoicism and Taoism provide useful practices that can help you cultivate your emotional intelligence. These ancient philosophies offer valuable lessons on how to develop empathy and compassion, as well as how to identify and regulate your emotions. Through the use of Stoic and Taoist principles, you can create an effective emotional intelligence training program for yourself that will help you become more emotionally intelligent. A main tenet of Stoicism is to live in accordance with nature. So be the river and flow through your life, and when an obstacle, such as a negative emotion, blocks your path, decide whether to pass over it, under it, or push it until it breaks. The river will continue to flow until it dries up or reaches the sea. You will continue to flow until you break or reach your destination. If there is an exterior issue, decide which path to take. But another tenet of Stoicism is to keep pain from harming you. This can be quite an uphill battle for the empath. When you are adding on the pains of all those others, it can be near impossible to keep this from bothering you. But it's important to note that also from Stoicism, we learned that while pain and suffering are inevitable, we decide how they affect us. It would take the most powerful person on earth to do this without fail. But I find it better to at least try than give up and fall to the ground. Taoism has its own set of tenets, and one very fitting notion is to do no harm. To truly do no harm, you may need to intervene and help someone. Remember the interconnectedness I mentioned earlier. If your neighbor needs help and you answer the call, you may very well be saving your wheel from falling apart or your finger from being amputated. Conversely, sometimes the best help requires nothing but a listening ear and a friendly smile. If you have one takeaway from this video, let it be this. If a partner, neighbor, friend, or even somebody on the street comes to you with an issue, sometimes all they need is an ear, not a hero. It's important to be compassionate with them, but sometimes they don't want a solution. They just want you to be present and listen to them rant. Sometimes the solution seems so simple to you, but by conveying this solution to them, they may take offense to the fact that they weren't able to solve the problem on their own. I hope through this video you gained a better understanding of compassion and empathy. We surely need more of this in our pale blue dot. If you got some value, please consider liking. If you would like to see more, please subscribe. Thank you. Memento Mori.